That's what include taxing.
Mr. Speaker, thank you.
I am correcting the facts.
The e-levy will not happen today, it will not happen tomorrow, and it will not happen next tomorrow, because the beneficiaries are students. Mr. Speaker, go and check records. Beneficiaries are university students, polytechnic students, HAS students, and all retired pensioners who live in the villages are the people who use Momo a lot. No MP here will send Momo and do transaction with Momo. If you are doing Momo transaction, it's about somebody who is sick in your constituency, who is in the labor ward, or who need your attention to give them money in school. Mr. Speaker, it will be unfair, very, very unfair if we don't throw this budget away. All we need to do is to put this thing in the dustbin. That is where it belongs to. For the finance minister to go and fit and rewrite the budget again and come back to the house and present a good budget that will help Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, all we need to do is to manage waste in our system. Even if we take 1% tax from Ghanaians, if the whole tax for the whole Ghana is 1%, and we manage it well, we can go far. We can use it for so many things. If you take 15%, as this statement is suggesting, and we don't manage it well, we will be where we are. Mr. Speaker, it is a known that if you have one thing and they add the other thing to it, all you need to do is to expand. But we keep adding and no expansion. We are where we are. So who is monitoring those things? I'm begging the finance minister, he should form management team that will manage this waste in our system. It's about waste in the system. It's about doing things the wrong way. So if we continue to do things the same way, we'll get the same result, even if we get 50% increment in tax. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading the whole Ghana to support the minority. The poor in the society should support the minority. Everybody, students, they should wake up, support us so that we throw this budget away for the minister to go and present it again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
The last for today is Honorable Sheila Battels.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the debate on the floor. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, when it comes to gender issues, women always have to fight. And why is that? Even in the placement of the debate, we are last. So that should tell you that we are always sent to the back of everything. And for us to be able to have a voice, we need to fight. And I'm happy to say, Mr. Speaker, that this fight has been well represented in the budget that we are all looking at today. Mr. Speaker, I stand here as a woman, not the type that we are all been talking about in the media. I was born a woman. But I am thinking that it is not very easy to be a woman in the world today, especially when you have aspiration. Mr. Speaker, you would never appreciate the plight of over 50.7 million Ghanaians who are also defined as women. Today, even though I'm speaking on gender, I'll focus on women because women are always in a struggle. And this budget has to present something that will give us the kind of hope that we are looking for. Mr. Speaker, you would agree with me, we are vulnerable. When decisions are being made, when policies are being created, usually these policies are gender blind. They are gender insensitive, or should I call it gender neutral? Because it is expected that we should have the same muscle as men, so that we can also get the same benefits as men do. Mr. Speaker, I dare say this is harmful for human development. We do not have equal rights as women. We are denied the same things that men do, especially in terms of our wages, in terms of opportunity, in assets. Mr. Speaker, women the world over are poorer, and it is no different in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we also represent the majority of unpaid labor. Now, if you look at our 2022 budget, which has been presented, I went straight to the area of women or gender, specifically the Ministry of Gender, and I compared it to 2021 to see if something has changed. Mr. Speaker, in 2021, the total allocation that was given to the Ministry of Gender was 330 million. But in the 2022 budget, it has been increased to a whopping 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the majority of women that participate in the school feeding program had part of their payments done last year. I'm happy that I have seen that the school feeding program has been allocated 881 million Ghana cedis in this year's budget. I think the women of Ghana, especially those who are caterers in this program, are going to be very happy. I also saw that the LEAP program has been given 197 million. Child trafficking budget has been doubled to 2 million. Wow. And an additional 2 million has been allocated to domestic violence. Wow. You may not appreciate these things because I see a lot of men here. But women face real problems, which we believe that with these allocations, we'll be able to go further. Mr. Speaker, the economically active number of women, that is women above 15 years, is 8.2 million. The average woman gives birth to about 3 children. But I think some of us do 1, some do 0, but I'm sure a lot of the men here may have 15, 16, divided among your wife and the others. And looking at the population ratio, now Ghana has a population of 30.8 million, and out of that, there are more women than men. There are more women than men. Women are more than men. So we must listen to this because it is very important. It means that the men here are having more girl children than men. It means that as the population grows, there are more women who would likely also be your children. So the glass ceiling has to be cracked and broken forever, so that we and your children will also have the kinds of opportunities that you get. I am grateful that my father, Kwamina Bartels, has been able to bring me up so that I can also achieve my own aspirations. And I pray that we will all be able to create the kind of environment that our children are also going to achieve their own aspirations. So I'm also extremely happy to hear about the USAT, which has also been represented in this budget. Mr. Speaker, it made me extremely happy, and I have said it everywhere, that this USAT is actually the kind of start that every girl needs in Ghana. Why am I saying this? If you look at the number of girls that are enrolled in our tertiary schools today, it is said that an average girl gets about 4 years of tertiary education. Why? We know the challenges. Teenage pregnancy. We have domestic violence. We have illiteracy. We have so many challenges that women have to deal with. And so a lot of them end up not getting to the top level, especially getting tertiary education or beyond. So they are left to be on their own, struggling with whatever the situation, throws at them. And as we all know, if there isn't an intentional process to ensure that girls are able to uplift themselves, then what we are doing is creating a very poverty-stricken country. So for us to create the Youth Start program, where girls or women can equally benefit from this package, that ensures that if somebody like my neighbor Ohima, yesterday she came to my home and she was chatting with me. She has a master's degree, but when she came back, way back in 2018 or 2016, 2017, thereabouts. Yes, I can't be sure of the date, and it's really irrelevant. But the point I'm making is somebody who has been able to complete her master's degree program. She expected that the moment she came back, she was trained in Scotland and also in China, and she wanted to start a business. But the question is, how do I go about it? She went to the banks. She put in her business plan, but she was asked for collateral. She was asked for this or that. So how does she benefit? So I said to her, do you know about USTAT? She says, I don't know anything about it. And I said, what do you have in your hand? Like the biblical scripture which said, God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? And he said, I have a staff. And he used that for all of the miracles. So Ohima can use her fruit juice business that she is doing right now to create the kind of miracles she needs in her life because of USTAT.
You have 1 more minute.
Which is a fantastic program that has been put together by this government in this budget, is going to propel her to get at least 50,000 Ghana cedis. Where would you get this kind of package? Only in this package. And I'm extremely happy that today the girls and the women of Ghana have an equal opportunity. Look at the school feeding program. Because of school feeding, which is a social intervention program innovated by this government or this party, today we can boast that our children have been enrolled, and we have never seen such numbers ever of children being enrolled, especially the girl child. Less children are now falling out of school. More girls are graduating, and today we can boast that girls are also getting into secondary education because of free SHS. And I'm happy and proud to be associated with this budget. And I believe that as a house, we must do everything possible to ensure that this budget as we see it, is approved. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. That is the last contribution to the debate for today. It is 5:15. Yes. Leaders. Yes.
Speaker, we have some common agreement with my colleagues on the other side, the minority leader, that we will defer a question slated or bill for today to tomorrow, and hence we can adjourn proceedings for now. Speaker, with your leave.
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Madam Speaker, there is consultation, and probably we may even have to discuss it further with Mr. Speaker, that we defer questions to tomorrow. And probably we must get Mr. Speaker's understanding. If tomorrow morning he's not even able to proceed to start at 10 a.m., he gives you the mandate so that you can clear questions within the first 1 hour. Then we can proceed to continue with the budget debate. But this is a matter I believe I would you engage the speaker on to see what his convenience and pleasure will be. So, Mr. Speaker, you can adjourn us with the understanding that the Honorable Minister for Sports and the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs will avail themselves tomorrow to respond to the questions that, as you may direct, will stand for tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we're in your hands.
Well, I don't know if the business committee can reconsider programming questions during this period. Because I've looked at the questions. I don't think that any of them is an urgent one. It's not a matter which needs to be responded to or something will happen. So, but I'll leave that to the business committee. As we speak now, only 2 of the speakers are available. The other one is doing international assignment. So if we are to do long debates and also many questions, I'm sure it will stretch us too much. So, but for today's questions, I think answers have been provided. May I direct that the answers are published in the Hansard? What's your view on that?
Mr. Speaker, since we are not owners of